Welcome to the judging panel for the World Smart City Awards 2026. Today, we're diving straight into the GENESIS platform. It is an absolute standout candidate for the enabling technologies and infrastructure and buildings categories. Through this explainer, we're going to see how GENESIS goes way beyond just monitoring our cities. It literally safeguards them. Let's look at how it's totally redefining urban resilience.
So picture this for a second. A landslide hits the municipality of Valverde on the island of El Hierro. Now, on its own, that's a highly localized physical failure, right? It just knocks down a medium voltage distribution line. But here is where the domino effect kicks in. That specific line, it powers the pumping station that pushes water from the coast all the way up to the municipal reservoirs. Suddenly, the water stops flowing. Within hours, the regional hospital is forced into strict water restriction protocols. Local schools have to shut down entirely, which means parents have to suddenly leave work to take care of their kids, instantly shrinking the available workforce. All of this, a massive citywide crisis, was triggered by a single localized power cut that didn't even touch a water pipe.
And honestly, that perfectly illustrates the absolute core problem modern smart cities are facing right now with safety and security. Our essential networks, water, energy, transport, telecom, they just don't operate in isolated little silos. A disruption in one doesn't care about physical or sectoral boundaries. Take the infrastructure of the Canary Islands, for example. It fights this constant battle against gravity, needing continuous electrical power just to desalinate and pump water up some incredibly steep topographies. When we treat these systems like they're independent, we leave ourselves dangerously vulnerable. The GENESIS platform was built specifically to expose and fix those exact hidden vulnerabilities.
To tackle this, we turn to some seriously cutting-edge innovation. Enter GENESIS. It's basically a highly advanced digital twin simulation engine. It's built in Rust, which gives it superior memory control and lightning-fast execution speeds, allowing it to model the incredibly complex interdependencies of urban infrastructure. Think of it like a giant controlled sandbox. Urban planners can intentionally degrade specific infrastructure nodes and then watch the resulting cascade of failures ripple out in real time. Crucially, it models 6 different types of natural perturbations and even factors in future climate modifiers all the way out to the year 2100.
Okay, let's dive into this, because the real magic here is the data analytics and data soundness. Every single piece of infrastructure is treated as a node with an integrity score from 0 to 100%, and every functional relationship is a weighted link. And these weights are incredibly precise. For instance, in La Palma, the electrical distribution nodes carry a 90% weight from diesel generation and 10% from renewables. By capturing the exact functional structure of a territory, GENESIS mathematically tracks exactly how a failure in one sector trickles downstream to all the others.
But GENESIS isn't just sitting back and watching disasters happen. It's a proactive workbench for practical, feasible urban planning. It introduces these 2 incredibly powerful what-if simulation tools called Shield and Backup. The Shield tool lets you simulate what would happen if you made a specific node completely immune to a perturbation, basically simulating a physical upgrade. The Backup tool? It lets you see what happens if a node loses its input service but gets an alternative, like a backup generator or a satellite link. So planners can test the exact effectiveness of a potential investment before spending a single real-world dollar.
The quantifiable impact of these tools is honestly staggering. Let's look at one simulation on the island of La Palma. A coastal flooding event drops the entire global system integrity down to a critical 52.65%. Yikes, right? But by applying that virtual shield tool to just one specific node, the Los Guinchos thermal plant, the system's overall integrity skyrockets back up to nearly 90%. The platform proves with hard data that this single plant is a systemic bottleneck. Shielding it creates this massive multiplier effect for city safety. I mean, this is exactly how we should be prioritizing smart city investments. Of course, true urban resilience isn't just about concrete and wires. It's fundamentally about the people who rely on them. To really hit the mark on inclusivity and citizen engagement, GENESIS translates that infrastructure damage directly into human impact. It integrates demographic data right down to the electoral district level. Planners can see exactly how many people will lose access to hospitals, pharmacies, or transport. And even more importantly, it tracks vulnerable demographics. It can tell you exactly how many lone parents of children under 12 are going to be affected by a school closure that was caused by a power failure across town. And you know, a cascading failure doesn't just stop at human inconvenience. It hits the economy hard. GENESIS actually tracks the availability of the local workforce by sector after a crisis. It measures that severe economic impact.
In La Palma, for example, the platform models cascading impacts across more than 51,000 agricultural parcels. When simulating a volcanic eruption, it revealed that the indirect damages, like the loss of the irrigation network, multiplied the affected agricultural surface area way beyond the direct damage of the lava itself. That dual capability is huge for protecting both citizens and the local economy.
Now, for any smart city solution to truly be award-worthy, it absolutely has to scale. It needs strong replicability. And Genesis has already been proven across 3 very distinct island profiles in the Canaries. You've got El Hierro, with 823 nodes and a heavy 46% reliance on renewables. Then La Palma, scaling up to 2,454 nodes with a 90% diesel reliance. And finally, Gran Canaria, a massive complex of 6,115 nodes with a heavily mixed grid and coastal desalination. Despite these wildly different structural vulnerabilities, the digital twin adapts seamlessly. Because it scales across these incredibly complex, totally unique networks, it can absolutely be replicated to ensure safety and security in any smart city globally.
And perhaps the best part? All of this highly sophisticated analytics is housed in a really accessible, user-friendly interface. That cements its real-world feasibility. You do not need to be a coder to use this. From the dashboard, planners can just select a territory, pick from 6 types of natural perturbations, like coastal floods or forest fires, apply future climate damage modifiers stretching to 2100, and instantly see the results. It takes the incredibly complex science of cascading network failures and turns it into an intuitive daily tool for the people actually making the decisions.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to think about. Are our smart cities truly resilient? Or are we really just one localized failure away from a systemic, cascading crisis? The Genesis platform moves us from just guessing to actually knowing. By leveraging unparalleled data soundness to prevent these cascades, it really does exemplify the peak of enabling technologies and infrastructure innovation. It's an absolute necessity for the future of urban resilience and clearly a formidable candidate for the World Smart City Awards 2026. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.